I'd heard the stories. Everyone who grows up in Florida knows about the St. Augustine Lighthouse. Some laugh it off, but if you ask the locals, the ones who've worked or lived near it, they'll tell you not everything can be explained away. I didn't believe any of it. Ghost stories are for tourists, I thought. So when my friend, Mark, suggested we explore it after hours, I was all in. A few phone calls later, we got access. A cousin of his worked at the museum nearby, and she handed us a key to the grounds. She did so with a nervous smile and a warning. Just don't go to the top after midnight. Some things don't like being disturbed. We laughed it off. The plan was to spend the night, get some footage for our YouTube channel, and maybe make a few bucks off the video. Simple, right? We got there just before sundown, the lighthouse looming over us like a silent guardian. The air felt heavy, almost thick with history. It didn't help that the wind howled through the trees, making everything feel alive. As we set up our cameras, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the lighthouse in an eerie silhouette. I've got to admit, there's something about being alone in a place like that when the night sets in. The usual ambient noises seem to fade, and all you can hear is your own breathing. Even Mark, the biggest skeptic I know, was quieter than usual. Around 11 p.m., we decided to climb the lighthouse. The stairs groaned with each step, and the higher we got, the tighter my chest felt. It wasn't exhaustion, it was something else. The air was colder up there, too, unnaturally so. We reached the top, and that's when things got strange. I swear I heard someone whisper my name. First, I thought it was Mark messing with me. "Nice try, man," I said, but he just looked at me, confused. "I didn't say anything," he replied, his voice uneasy. We both stood still, listening. Nothing but the wind. I brushed it off, even though my skin tingled. We filmed some shots of the surrounding area, trying to capture the coastline bathed in moonlight. It should have been peaceful. It wasn't. The whispers came again, this time clearer. Not just my name, but Mark's too. "Come closer." It was faint, like it was coming from just beyond the spiral staircase leading down. I looked at Mark, and I could tell he heard it too. His face had gone pale. "Let's get out of here," he muttered, and for once I didn't argue. But as we turned to leave, the air around us seemed to shift. It was as if the lighthouse itself was pushing us back. Then we heard the footsteps. They were soft at first, almost too soft to notice. But they grew louder, echoing off the stone walls, and they weren't ours. Mark grabbed my arm, and we started down the stairs. Each step felt slower than the last, like we were walking through molasses. Halfway down, I glanced over the railing, and that's when I saw her. A woman, dressed in a long, flowing gown, was standing at the base of the stairs, staring up at us. Her face was pale, almost translucent, and her eyes, God, her eyes were hollow, black pits. She didn't move, just stood there watching, as if waiting for us to come closer. I froze. My legs refused to move. "Go, man, go!" Mark shouted, snapping me out of it. We bolted the rest of the way down, but when we reached the bottom, she was gone. The air felt suffocating, pressing in from all sides. My heart pounded in my chest as I fumbled with the door, desperate to get outside. The second we stepped out, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. We didn't speak as we packed up our gear and practically ran to the car. On the drive back, Mark broke the silence. "You saw her too, right?" I nodded, my throat too dry to respond. I tried to rationalize it, to tell myself it was just our minds playing tricks on us, but deep down I knew better. The next morning, I did some digging. Turns out, several workers and visitors had reported seeing a woman in the lighthouse. Some say she's the spirit of one of the 3 young girls who died in a tragic accident there. The girls had been playing on a cart when it broke loose, sending them into the water where they drowned. Others believe she's something older, more sinister. Whatever she was, I know what I saw, and I know what I heard. I haven't been back to St. Augustine since. And if you ever find yourself there after dark, do yourself a favor, don't go near the lighthouse.